what's up, everybody? I'm Wolf. Let's go around the horn and introduce ourselves.
So,
JC,
go ahead, JC. Sorry about that.
you're good. You're good.
And then since I talked, I guess, Dantron, 69K.
And of course, Shadow Gaming is here again.
Nice. So I talked to a couple of these guys, and we're going to call this the Gaming Nerds Podcast. And every so often, we'll get some friends together, and we'll talk about some gaming topics. So tonight we have for you a double doozy. First, we're going to start by talking about our favorite multiplayer games and our experiences with that. And then when we're done with that topic, we're going to move right into our favorite handheld and portable units throughout the years. So I am going to have Mr. Dantron 69K start off, because this originally was his topic that he suggested, and I think it's only fair that he starts off the multiplayer discussion.
So those of you that have heard me talk before, a lot of times I talk about when I say multiplayer, I'm very big into the current multiplayer over the internet. Of course, don't get me wrong, I had all those consoles, the N64, the Dreamcast, all of those where you had a good multiplayer experience, shoulder to shoulder. But I'm going to go into more where my heart is now, more recently. Of course, I got my Megacade with 4 players and all that kind of stuff. But online experiences, because I have so many friends that are around the globe. I mean, I got friends in Britain, I got friends, that are in Texas, and Wolf in, Philly, down, Scantron down in Florida, and Eli. So we're spread out all over the U.S. and all over the world. And how do I hang out with them, right? I can't just go to the local arcade and have a beer with them. So I get online. So I'll take my first, and I'll start with my absolute favorite multiplayer experience that I ever had. And it's actually an older game. And those of you that had an original Xbox might know this game, but most people didn't play it because it had a huge buy-in cost up front. And it was Steel Battalion Line of Contact. It was a Capcom game, super dope. Actually, I think I have here we go. This is what the actual case looked like. The net code was wonky. It was a 5v5 vertical tank, like walking tank simulator. So it had if you wanted to talk, you couldn't talk everybody like in a big party like you normally would. You would physically have to turn the dial to which other mech on your team you wanted to speak with. So if there was, the most you could get was usually 3-on-3. So I would go, if I wanted to talk to my buddy Ryan, and let's say he was in mech 3, I would physically have to change my control to 3 and then hail him. And he would see the hailing button would flash on his thing, and he'd have to press that for us to be able to communicate together. It had gear shifters. It had 2. Actually, I don't have the foot pedals, but I did grab the controller real quick so you guys can see what I was talking about. All right, so this is the controller. So let me see if I can spin it around. So it's like a 2.5 foot wide controller.
Oh my god!
So
that is a coffee table controller.
Yeah, dude, not even that. So I am a really big nerd, and I have a special chair that I made this bracket. You can see there's like these anti-slide pads and the bracket on the side, Scott. So basically, it would lock itself in place over my chair, so it wouldn't slide around. So as I'm playing, so basically it was like a cockpit. I would just lock it down. But as far as the multiplayer experience, I never had as much fun playing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have a lot of fun playing other stuff, but there's nothing to match Steel Battalion. So for me, I mean, perfect example is other mechs could see you. I'm going to keep this really short now on this, but other mechs could see you if they scan the horizon. They could pick up your energy signature. So what you wanted to do, this is the number one thing that was just set it apart. I would find a corner and we would ambush. So I would turn all my toggles off, like power down my mech, and you'd see everything power down. But the problem is you could only stay powered down for about a minute before you suffocated inside of your mech. So you had to, from time to time, turn there's one on here that says oxygen supply system. You had to turn that on for a short time. Your guy would breathe for a second, and then you would turn it back off. And you start to see condensation and stuff showing up on the screen again, and you'd start to hear yourself getting kind of winded. You have to turn it back on, and hopefully you would time it right. Somebody fly past you, and you can tell that they look, but they can't see you. and you power all up. Your mech starts up, hitting 5th gear, and you start chasing after him. You're shooting him in the back, and they're like, "What the heck just happened?" It's awesome. But it did have a negative aspect to it too, outside of the netcode. Was if you died in your mech, like you didn't eject fast enough, all of your game save was gone. Meaning that character is dead, never to come back. You had to start over again. So,
like a rogue.
Yeah, straight up.
Gotta love permadeath games.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an awesome game, dude. It's I have 2 full setups, so I had 2 Xboxes that I do system link still on it because it was original Xbox. So, anyways, there you go. I monopolized enough.
Wow. So that controller is sick, dude.
See, these are the issues that I have being down here in Georgia. That controller did not exist in any store nor magazine or anywhere close to where I was.
Yeah.
You should have seen the box that game came in.
Yep, I have 2 boxes. They were this big, like not exaggerating, and because they take all 3 of the pieces, they separate, and they were all stacked in together. But yeah, this one is the second release. You can see with the blue buttons. I have an initial release for Steel Battalion, which is green buttoned. So I have both, and they were both brand new when I got them. So yeah, they're awesome.
Wow, that's tough to top. I don't know who wants to go next, JC or Shadow Gaming.
Well, since he brought up Steel Battalion, the following generation on Xbox had another great mech game. I see Larson already looking back. Chrome Hounds.
Yep, Chrome Hounds was good.
The only game where you could actually get 5 of your buddies on, go into a mission, and then fight a giant train with a cannon bigger than what you saw in Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, the problem with that game, though, is it was arcadey. This one was more like arcade sim. So like if you're going too fast and you try and turn too quick, you would have stabilizer lights that would flash on your screen, and if you pushed it a little bit too far, your mech would fall over and you'd have to you'd be stopped there for a minute. You'd have to roll onto your back and stand up. Guess what? If you're in the middle of a battle and you do that, you're dead because they're going to clip dump on you and then just destroy you.
Yeah, I know it was more arcadey than simulation.
It was still good though.
It was still a great game. There are 2 other games that every day I could stop and play, and I could be happy just messing around on them. One is one I just got last week from a friend, and I think we played 7 straight days of it, and that's let me pull up the name again the right way. Phasmophobia.
Yeah. Was that fear one, like the scary?
Yes.
Yep.
We were playing that yesterday, and I'm not joking. I said I get more of a jump scare from Evil Dead than I do from this game.
Wow.
And then an old school one, I will always sit down and play the Mario Party and Mario Kart games. Like, have to sit and play those.
Hold on, best Mario Kart.
Ooh.
I'll go first. I mean, my favorite is, and I know this is probably going to be unpopular, is the GameCube version, Double Dash.
Double Dash, yeah.
Done. Yeah. That's mine too.
Yeah, baby.
That's mine.
Double Dash.
Double Dash was great, dude. It's still, I play it
let's still be honest about that one though. Before Double Dash, the Super Nintendo version was yours.
Yes.
Before that,
I always played battle mode.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Jason. Okay. Yep.
But I mean, even looking up through the newer ones, right? I mean, even the new ones, they're nice, they're flashy, but they still don't grab me like Double Dash does. Yeah. Double Dash has a different layer of it, right? With the 2 different drivers and being able to swap.
It's a whole different strategy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it changed the game and the steering.
Yep. Yeah, because you needed the second person that was on the back needed to initiate the drift, so you had to work together. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Mm-hmm. All right, JC, what do you got? What's your fondest memory or your best moment?
You guys are making me feel old, but I'll take every bit of that. I was the first-person shooter at college person. So we went through the Dooms and the Wolfensteins and things of that nature. And then this beast of a game comes out after Quake finishes its little run called Unreal Tournament.
Yep.
And it pretty much launches my life into a never-ending saga until this day of making sure I have that game with me everywhere I go. It's on every computer I have. It's on every drive that I have that I take with me. It's modded in 100 different ways because we were able to do that then and start skinning things and everything and making bombs and nukes and weapons and adding people to it. And it changed everything for me. I became a keyboard king because of that game. Mm-hmm. That's just it. I mean, I don't know another game right now, and it's hard for me to say that, but I don't know another game right now that's a first-person shooter that I will pick first before I pick that. Mm-hmm. Unreal Tournament 436 patch, I can play all day long, every day, every map, deck 16, whatever, and doesn't matter. All the different ways they mod that game, you know, even from the aspect of certain storylines that people would create with their different maps and multiplayer. That I mean, because I didn't realize that many people now are still playing that game. If you crank that game up now and check the network of the multiplayer, it's still filled up.
Yep, and it's different too because Unreal Tournament and Unreal Championship. So.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, but you had me.
There's something about tournament. I didn't get caught up in the graphic part of that because the graphics look better, but there was just still something about the way the speed tournament plays. Even the multiplayer interaction with that one was just a whole lot cleaner. I mean, a lot of people don't realize it, but of course, this is the reason Unreal's engine is being used for a lot of stuff now, building from those points, even from the first Unreal game going forward. I mean, it's always going to be something about that game that keeps me going.
It was
no questions.
So clean. Oh, yeah. Like the way that the interface was, the way that you would move, how smooth the levels felt, how easy. You never, even with bad net, you wouldn't see a bunch of choppiness. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, the intro video, for us back then, it was about your video card. If you were running a Monster 3D or Voodoo or something like that, just watching that intro video was everything. It put you in the tournament as far as I was concerned. I mean, everybody I know who played that game can remember it word for word. You knew what was happening on that screen when you walked in the room. Don't bother them. They're playing a real tournament. It's going to get nasty in a few minutes. Unless you really want to play with them, don't go in that room.
You know what?
It was just one of those things.
I think that one was different as well because you could play that one online, but they still hadn't figured out voice chat yet, so you didn't have as many of the whiners screaming. I mean, they type to you and stuff. Not that big a deal because you just ignore all that. But not somebody come in, like a 12-year-old screaming at you. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're unless you're doing the LAN parties where you have 8 people hooked up in one room. But
it's good that you say that too, because that was just one game where you actually, if you could play it, you played. There wasn't much talking going on because there was so much action, so much stuff. You have your campers who would be yapping in the background in the room or whatnot, but you sniff out the campers and we keep moving. Mm-hmm. That's how we talked, and those different little ways, man. It's still awesome.
I remember teaming up with people on campers. Like, we're all against each other, but we were like, nope, this guy's going down. Like, I'd aim at somebody, and he'd aim at me, and we'd just go like this and turn right towards where the camper is.
Right.
Let's go.
Did that come out for a Dreamcast? I feel like I had that for Dreamcast.
It sure did.
Okay. All right.
And that was at the same time the keyboard and the mouse came out.
Okay.
For Dreamcast.
That's what I thought. I knew I had it. I don't remember playing it. Yeah, like
Quake 3, I think, came out for Dreamcast too. Do I remember?
Yeah, Arena.
Yeah, I have Quake definitely.
And that's another beast by itself too. It just couldn't top Unreal Tournament. There was just a little bit too much more to that.
Good pick. Good.
Well, all right. I guess it's my turn. So first, I want to give a thanks. All right, he's gonna blush, but I want to thank Mr. Dan Larson because I would say in the past 6 months had just, maybe less than that, had just gotten into the more recent multiplayer. I was not. He'll tell you I was very obstinate about multiplayer is not for me. I like the single player games. I'm a loner. I'm a rebel. I'm the lone wolf. But you know what? Since he talked me into getting PlayStation Plus, I've had nothing but some of the best times playing. I guess actually starting off with Split Second, and then getting into Killer Queen Black, and then getting into like Elden Ring and some of the other fun stuff. So I feel like I owe him a thanks, because my pick for multiplayer is that's Wales. I wonder if he wants to get on now.
Cool.
Well, anyway, let me just finish what I was going to say, and then I'll let him in. Now I'm going to make pretend I'm Grandpappy Wolf. And I'm going to take you back to 1985, suckers. And my multiplayer experience was Gauntlet in the arcade. I would get my
Good call.
parents or my friends' parents to take us to the arcade. We would line up an entire row of quarters. We'd fight over which character. Everybody wanted to be the warrior, and so we'd pick our characters. And there, right at the arcade, you had 3 friends side by side, and you're playing Gauntlet, and you're putting in quarters. And that is my first experience of like true, multiplayer bliss. And that was a lot of fun, but I gotta give Larson some credit. There's something needs to be said about hearing your friends from all over the country coming through your controller and telling you, "No, Wolf! No! What are you doing, Wolf?" And just getting hollered at while you're playing.
You totally missed that jump, Wolf. Oh, that jump! You totally just missed it.
Oh, so I love it. So my experience is like, and I think I'm the oldest person in this room, followed by JC, and then probably Dan, and then Sean. But I feel like a lot of my multiplayer memories are like MAME arcades, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dungeons and Dragons, Gauntlet. And I'm not even talking about like the 2-player fighters, because that's like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. I feel like that's another conversation. But I'm just talking about getting some friends and trying to beat a game like X-Men, the player X-Men, and just, but it's so interesting to see how far multiplayer has gone from, like, say, 1985 Atari's Gauntlet to playing, like the guys right now are playing Evil Dead, which I should be playing too, but my god darn machine busted. I got my game sealed right there. It's pissing me off. It's laughing at me and going, "Aha, you can't play me." And so I'm just kind of living vicariously through you guys, watching your Twitch and YouTube streams. But definitely, multiplayer is just, it's a lot of fun, because I think you nailed it, Dan, when you said you got friends all over the country. I mean, JC's in Georgia, Sean's in Chicago, Dan's in Washington State, I'm in Pennsylvania, Wales is in Texas, Scan's in Florida, Eli's in Florida. We got people all over. So for us to pick a time, which is hard enough, because we're all adults and we all, for the most part, have families, friends, obligations, and then to hop on, and then we're all playing this game, and we could hear each other and laugh. I got to give it to you, man. You definitely changed things up for me, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yep, no doubt.
I got to piggyback you on that one also. Thank you, Dan, because I had just about given up on having a great multiplayer experience with friends. But when we started playing Split Second and we put that little time into it, and to get it to run that good, to where nobody was really complaining about lag or anything. This is, we're side by side in racing Sims, playing this game, talking the same crap we would talk to each other.
Yeah.
For knocking each other off a track or blowing up walls or bringing many of our close friends now into imminent danger as we turn a corner.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to be said because you can't beat that right now. We're having withdrawals right now because we need to get back to playing.
Yep.
That game.
There's certain games too in particular that you don't mind losing. Like Split Second's one of those ones. There's a lot of games where you just even like the way Evil Dead is now, or like Friday the 13th. You don't mind losing, especially with your friends, because you're just goofing around. It's like playing tag, or it's like who's the it's a fun way to hang out with friends. I mean, rather we would just be hanging out if we lived close to each other. We'd be hanging out, kind of probably doing the same thing, right? And so It's just kind of like, all right, this is a good way that we can enjoy each other's company, laugh, just have a good, safe environment to just have fun, and that's why I enjoy it.
Yeah, and thanks, JC. I know you helped us out with setting it up so we could play safely online and stuff, and that was huge.
Thank goodness it's still available.
Right?
Yeah, right.
With the stuff that's going on in the world, for sure.
Yes, sir.
Wow, I'll tell you, man, this is 4 very good examples and of our favorite multiplayer games. Does anybody have any other quick memory before we change gears for multiplayer games?
Well, I mean, I can touch on just real quick what JC was talking about, kind of arcade, or you were talking about arcade stuff too. So, like, JC was Unreal Tournament, and that was like more like LAN stuff, right? A lot of times first coming up. I remember arcade was the first multiplayer experience that I really can think back to, and that was Ninja Turtles was the one that grabbed me, or Wild West Cowboys and Moon Mesa, or Sunset Riders. All of those multiplayer games were a lot of fun, and I think I carried that over to my consoles, right? Because I gravitated more towards the 4-player consoles. I had the multi-tap for my PlayStation 2, and then you had the N64. Of course, I had all that, and my favorite console of all is of course the Dreamcast. So because of the multiplayer games that were available and the multiplayer experience that I was able to have, which is why I'm so freaking excited about the new like portable Traycade options, which with how they have some of my favorite Dreamcast games on there, and being able to take that stuff portable and it run good. You know what I'm saying? Those are some of the things that are just brings joy to my heart. And then of course shifting into, I was on Xbox Live when they did beta, right? So I was the second group of beta. So Xbox Live beta. And so I remember the early days of online multiplayer. We didn't have as many like jerks. It's weird. Like, we had the voice chat and stuff, but it wasn't as many jerks as it is now. And I don't understand. Maybe because they were more adults that were kind of in the beta process, or when they had to, because the Xbox was kind of expensive, and then for you to get online games, it was going to be more of a, we'll just say more seasoned on that side of life, right? So we didn't have the little kid aspect very much on the online stuff, but that's the biggest change, I think, too, is the people that feel like the anonymity right now enables them to be a jerk to everybody, and that's not the way that gaming's supposed to be. You're supposed to have fun, but I understand too that people, a lot of times, they're out of control. Like, their life is just in shambles, and they want to feel like they can control something and like they matter, and sometimes that just comes off as them just being jerks. So I try to remember that too when I'm talking about my online experiences, at least on the internet. So anyways, I'm good.
Yeah, that's really huge what you're saying. I hear that all the time. Like, do you remember any of you I forget what PlayStation it was. I think it was 3. They were toying around with something called PlayStation Home, and it was like this.
Yes, I used to love that
environment. Well, I liked it too until what Dan said. I'd be walking around and I'd want to like strike up a conversation about gaming with somebody, and I would hear like, F-bombs and kids screaming, and just like it was, I had to like go in there and just like mute. but then it's no fun. I just thought it was awful. Like that was the beginning of the end for me.
It ruined GTA for me. GTA Online for me the same way.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah, that's why I only
just
played private.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is unfortunate that game developers spend a bunch of time to make these games, and some of them are fantastic. It's just the majority. And look, I'm trying not to be stereotypical on any of this stuff, but really, it's the Call of Duty crowd. I'm just gonna say it, dude.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
when it started.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
it started. The Call of Duty started, and then the Halo 2, it kicked up at that point too,
my
where people
God.
started, like
Yeah.
just trying to be disrespectful. Not like the fact that you killed them isn't disrespect enough, but the fact that you're basically thrusting your crotch regions up and down onto people, which seems fun at first a little bit, but then it gets kind of like, come on, bro, are we, I don't know. It does put a sour taste in your mouth, and it's not from the crotch. It's just because of that whole attitude. So,
And that's one of the reasons I don't play competitive anymore.
yeah.
Well, isn't that part of the reason, though? I don't know if you remember. I'm going to go back to my Unreal tournament. One of the celebration moves was a crotch move, and that seemed to be even during that generation of just people. That's the easiest way to flip somebody off, other than the finger. That's what they did late '80s, early '90s, and so when it melded over into, and they started adding all this personality into your character.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm letting you dress this character like yourself or not yourself, the person you want to be.
Yeah.
And we help people recreate themselves and it's kind of like it was with me when we went off to college. You were trying to recreate yourself from the way you were in high school. I want to be a totally different person over here, and it like you said, it's got out of hand. It's just out of hand now.
And it carried over to. That's why I won't let my older son play that game, Fortnite. The kids are playing Fortnite, and they're like, I forget what it's called. It's not an avatar, but we do it all the time in Elden Ring. When Dan has his arms out like this.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Emotes.
Emotes. Like they're playing, and they'll kill somebody, and then there's like an emote where like you're teabagging somebody and doing like all this like stuff, and I won't let him play that. He could play the Traycade all he wants, but
all right.
He's not playing Fortnite.
Well, that's the challenge too, is like it kind of goes into like where's their heart at the moment, right? So like for me growing up, even if I beat somebody, I never felt the need or want to humiliate them. That's just the way that it always was. You know why? Because I didn't like it when people did it to me. Here's the problem. I don't expect everybody to be like me, but that is not the way that it works now. Now it's like they're going to do as much as they can to try and make themselves feel better. Like I said, their life is usually in shambles. Like life is hard. Like right now, I mean, coming out of COVID stuff, we all understand. We all have problems, right? Life is hard for everybody, but they want to feel like they have some control, and nobody can tell them what to do in this virtual environment. The problem is how they're interacting with other people, and then how that interaction is being perceived by the other person. Like they don't know if that other person is a 8-year-old girl, right? Like my daughters, I'm careful, like Plants vs. Zombies or something like that. I mean, you could have somebody in there, 16, 17-year-old that's just out of control, and they're just screaming obscenities, running around, just randomly doing stuff that they shouldn't, or talking about what they shouldn't. And it's like, why? Because they can. And it's
no consequences.
Yeah, it's
absolutely, Sean. Absolutely, no consequence.
Wow.
And what a downer! Come on, you guys. We can pick this up.
Yeah, right. Let's bring back up the spirits, and I'll start this one. So we're gonna segue into our. It doesn't even have to be your favorite. It could just be, I don't know, like a handheld or portable device that you've gravitated towards, or maybe an early memory. But I kind of showed two of the guys at the beginning, so I'm going to hold it up. I remember for Christmas, Santa Claus brought me a...
Ah.
Ooh,
Yes.
It was under the tree, and I went god darn nuts. And I couldn't believe that you could, basically take. Now, I had like Tiger electronic stuff way before the Game Boy, but this was like stereo sound, and you had your headphones in, and it came with Tetris, and it was, for me, a game changer, because that opened up the floodgates for me to get into, and I do have this love for handheld, like collecting for handhelds, like Game Boy Color, DS, like all that stuff. And Larson was showing me some of the stuff he had that I always wanted and never had. And and it's just, to me, that's my fondest memory. I mean, now today I'm using, you can see on the screen, if you look at JC's screen, you'll see Traycade in the lower right. That's a product that he makes and sells. And I bought something from him, and it's a I don't even know how you would say it. It's a what is it? A flash drive?
Flash drive, jump drive.
It's a flash drive jump drive that he made, that I put into a what is it, like a Chinese like gaming shell called an Ambernick, and it's like having a pocket, every single thing you could ever want with you, and it's amazing, right? So to think like you had this big bulky thing, right, that played one game, Tetris, and now I could put this Ambernick in my front pocket, and I have 21,000 games at my disposal, and it's phenomenal. So that's how I wanted to open the discussion, and anybody could kind of jump in now.
Oh man, with me, guys, it might have come way before that, but it started this entire thing. Just as Wolf said, I had my Tiger electronics, my old football game that just had a red line in the middle of the screen, and that was about as portable as you got. You couldn't, no game saves, you left home, this, that, and the other. And as our consoles came into play, these became some of my favorite games. Your Nintendo, your Super Nintendo, your Sega Genesis, your Game Boy, GameCubes, whatever. And then once we started collecting ROMs, I mean, it just becomes dang it, I want to be able to take this with me. So what device do I need to do it? And for me, it became a portable NVIDIA Shield, the portable. It had that had a Xbox-based type controller built in with a 5-inch screen. Well, great day. It runs Android. You just changed the game for me, because anything before that was basically a phone. I remember having I think it was it Sony's phone that had the flip top that had a actual controller in it?
Yeah, was it an Xperia or something?
Xperia, right? Xperia.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it was. And we had those things, but you could only carry so much. Storage had to change for us. And in the end process of this, we came up with the OG Traycade, which we talked about, which it mirrored a lot of other systems. And this is what I like to say about it. There were other people out there trying to do the same thing. Only problem is nobody ever really took the time. You'd have duplicates of games. You wouldn't have what you would classify as a complete collection of one set systems games or anything like that. Or mainly, hey, I might have one or two of the main games most people like to play, and then everything else I can smoke them on game number 200 and start the list over again. You just had a lot of that stuff out there, and so it was crazy to buy. It's crazy to buy from China. It's crazy to buy from a flea market that is advertising this nice little system that they brought in. I just really got sick of it, because I like gaming and I want everybody else to like it as much as I do. I get excited about it. And so just became sit down, take a year, start going through this thing. Let's see what works, and let it stay at that. You know, quit worrying about the upgrades or the updates. Quit worrying about that type stuff. You know, buy one time, don't worry about it. No updates, nothing needed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to whip it out and you want to play Berserk from Atari 2600, then you whip it out, play Berserk, and it's going to run without question. Nothing to talk about. You know, you're out of it. And it just melds itself into a different ball game of portability, being able to take things with you. And so, just like Dan Wolf was saying, the Ambernick gave us that opportunity with a nice little Linux-based system in it and a micro SD card. That's what we were talking about, Dan, instead of the jump drive, micro SD.
Yeah.
And however much space you got is how much we can, you know, how much we can fill up.
Micro SD.
Oh gosh,
This was it right here. The micro
yeah.
SD.
PSP.
PSP.
I used this more for emulation than I did actually as like for what it was intended. So playing Ninja Turtles on this, playing you know all kinds of those newer
I think
newer
majority
games.
of people did that with the PSP instead of actually playing PSP games.
Yep.
Right.
That was the minis too, but they were super expensive. Remember those memory cards were expensive at that point too, and now they're not so bad. But
because it was proprietary.
Exactly.
They were smart. They were a bunch of I'll be honest, Sony's a bunch of whores, but you had to buy their memory, which was proprietary, and it was expensive.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
And it's a shame. And you know, JC, like now I'm buying for my kid. Both of my kids have a Switch.
Right.
Each of them have like I think 256 gigs. I forget what I got it. It was like a flash sale. It was like nothing.
All right.
Yeah. Insane.
Storage changed the game. It's just like my new favorite handheld that I can't wait that I get my hands on, my Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
God,
it's
yeah.
great day. I mean, what do I do then with the archive of what I have and what I can take with me, or I can dock in a station and play on a TV or a computer screen and have multiple controllers hooked up to, and it's all in that one little piece of greatness, you know, with that kind of power. You know, it really ends that long. This is going to be it's a page turner now. I can honestly say that because Ambernick is only going to go so far with what they're selling, and you've got to kind of keep it. They got to kind of keep what they can with the type of money they're making, creating that with the chips that they're using and things of that nature. But now to jump to something that powerful, which is a PC basically. To be able to do all that stuff on is just going to be ridiculous where we go with that.
Hold on a second. We got another person like trying to hijack our chat. What the hell is this? Anonymous? Who is that? Oh, it's Wales.
What's up, Wales?
Welcome.
What's up, Wales?
I snuck in there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Wife went to her room, took one of the kids. I horked down some nachos, and I joined a Zoom chat with my homies. So
awesome!
Nice.
We're talking about
Here.
Handhelds, and
I saw Larson hold up the PSP, which was the only handheld I ever owned, and I heard Shadow say, most people use it for other things other than PSP, and I could kind of agree with that because I used it as an iPod before there were iPods. Because I think I had a 256, I think, scan card that I had about at least like 300 songs or something on it and everything, and used it to walk around and listen to music and stuff. And then, I still did use the UMDs and stuff with it, but I know they tried to use it as a portable movie player, but I could never get into the movies watching it on that little tiny screen and all that. So the games were awesome, though. It was a really good handheld. So.
Well, who's up next?
I'll go. Personally, I've always done the Nintendo handhelds. Gone through all that whole series because I had 12 nieces and nephews that were growing up through that entire era, so I had to play with them because, Uncle, I need help. I can't beat this guy. And there's so many great games, no matter what console you play. But I mean, nowadays, we don't. Our handheld is our phone. I mean, you think about it. You have RetroPie on Android. You have it. They're working on it for iOS. I mean, you got everything right there.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at that turning point now. That's what I'm saying. I think it's time that we're turning that page on being fluid throughout devices. You know, you don't have really a device that can't run what this current generation is, been trying to just put on all in one place.
Oh yeah, I mean, even with Microsoft now having, for those who have Game Pass, you have access to cloud gaming. So, right. I mean, you can play it from your phone. Connect your Xbox controller up to your phone, attach it somehow, and start playing.
Even Luna on a Fire Stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. Dan, any? I know you showed up the PSP, but is that your favorite or?
Nah. So if I had to say my favorite, let's talk about. So right now I'm playing stuff like this. This is my Vita, right? So
yeah.
But look at how it. Dead or Alive
Amazing.
5, right?
The Vita's great, very underrated.
Yeah. So Dead or Alive 5.
They didn't get enough time.
It's just a great. This is a great console. And I do, if I happen to go anywhere and play like a handheld, usually that's the one I go with. I have a lot of fun games for it. But if I had to say my favorite console, my favorite handheld is going to be my Sega Nomad.
Ooh.
Wow.
So
that's tough.
Dude, so actually uses Genesis actual control games in it. And then if you have one of these battery packs, because they're kind of hard to find now, but one of these actual battery pack that you put like AA batteries in it, and you can click it, you can actually still take it without having to have it plugged in, because it does have the outlet. You can plug it in if you want. And this is a legit Genesis in your hand, because it has like a player 2 slot, so you can put the player 2 button out of it. It has the audio video jack that you can plug it out, send it out to your TV. And for as far as just like taking a few games, throwing this, it's freaking phenomenal. And same thing with this one, my Superboy. Like this thing is not the, I guess the best, most well maintained or best built machine, but I mean, just look at it though. Look at F-Zero right in there. Yep. So I mean, using just a regular Super Nintendo actual cartridge, being able to take that with you, your Super Nintendo. This is actually a Super Nintendo by itself too. You can see the plug-in ports on it. You can plug in the ports. It has the video out. Where is that at? Audio video out at the top. So it's just I mean, but I have way too many consoles, dude. I mean, I'm like pulling consoles out of my ears. I got like my Game Gear sitting here. I got the because when we were talking about this, I was like, oh, I have a lot of my stuff packaged up, right? So, but like this one, I played for a long time. The SP, this thing is freaking awesome. I have Street Fighter in here, I think. Super Street Fighter. I actually bought batteries and learned how to solder in new batteries and stuff so I can get the game saves and stuff to work. By the way, that's another fun thing if you decide that you like to tinker with stuff. But I mean, it even goes through like the DS.
Yep.
And then I have a bunch of other ones that are actually packaged up. But I like traveling with my games. I like bringing them with me, which is why I'm so pumped about like what the Traycade brings, because then I don't have to pick and choose, right? I don't have to take 4 different consoles, right, and try and get them to work. I take my PSP because I get a lot of stuff kind of on that one. But I mean, but then you're carrying a PSP and a PS Vita, and then it's like, I don't know. But that's the beauty of the Traycade, right? I mean, it has pretty much everything you're gonna want in your hand. Take it with you, even if you're traveling around. Like even your Windows version, right? Most everybody has their computer and they're taking them with it, or taking it with them on a trip, right? You take your computer, you take this little flash drive. Guess what? Boom, games galore. So I mean, it's just like a no-brainer for me.
How many systems again? Did you say there's?
Gosh, I think we're right at 52.
52 systems.
52 systems.
Mean, and you have to just kind of think about what Dan said, right? Because I agree. When I go on a trip, I would have brought like my Vita or my PSP because they're both modded, and I have the games, and but I have some of the systems. I don't have 52 systems. I don't have 21,000 games.
You're not carrying a Dreamcast in your bag.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's
the full library.
There's a portable Dreamcast.
Super
I like
Sega.
Yeah, what was that, Wales?
I said, yeah, you're not carrying the full library of like the 8-bit Nintendo, Super Nintendo,
Right.
and Genesis.
Exactly. And that doesn't even talk about the foreign games, the hacked games, the unreleased games, because they have all that too for Nintendo and Super Nintendo and Genesis.
Yeah, what people forget about this stuff too is like some of these games that are on there, right? They're not cheap. Like this game. Like if you're talking about this, having this on your Super Nintendo, and I'm taking this in my Superboy, like this is on there. But to try and find one that's in, look at like my the sticker, everything is clean on it.
Good.
To find one of these, this is like more than the cost of, if not a standard Traycade, it's going to be the cost of probably close to a standard Traycade, if not one of like 2 times or 3 times the cost of the Pocket or Windows versions. So, and that's just one game, one. So it's freaking amazing what you've been able to do, JC, and I'm super pumped about it.
Well, man, I'm glad it's on the way to you guys, man, so that we can actually just get started with the fun part of it.
And the other good thing about it is you don't have to have an internet connection for it to run or work. You just plug it in and go. I mean, if you want to do the net play, of course, but just to actually enjoy it, you don't have to have an internet connection. So like you said, when Wolf or Larson or anybody else just goes out and travels, sometimes there's not good signals or whatever stuff. It don't matter because you just play. So it's revolutionary in my opinion.
So in real time, you just saw Larson throw up on screen a really rare and yours is in really good shape because I've seen some Chrono Triggers. They have really bad label damage, but yours looked like it was in good shape. So I have an app on my phone called Game Eye, and it gives you up-to-date market value on all games. So I'm just going to flash Dan's Chrono Trigger, what it's going for right now. And I think Dan could get slightly more because of his condition, but I don't know if you could see. I'm going to try to put up the Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger, you can kind of see it off there to the left. What is
there
it?
It is. Yeah.
Loose, yeah. I can't see the blue if that's what it's.
Yeah, the blue is washing it out.
Okay. Well, anyway, it says $243.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's Kart only.
That's a little.
Yeah, and I watched, like I said, Chrono Trigger. I've had this one now for probably a good 10 years or so, but I knew I wanted it probably 4 years before that, and I was watching it. And right around that time, it was still $140, $150 for just because if I'm going to buy a game, it needs to be clean sticker or full packaging.
Right.
Has to, without a doubt. So, and then once this one popped up one time on eBay, and it was a clean sticker and everything, and I want to say it was on sale for, I think, $80 or something. I immediately insta-purchased it. It was like a buy it now at like $90 or something. I was like, bought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
and
a great
so
deal.
and I'm not buying this stuff to resell, but I'm using it as an example of like you can get the Traycade with all the bells and whistles, all the fun stuff. You're going to be around that same market value for one Super Nintendo game. One, and that's not the console that you need to play it on. It's crazy when you start bringing it. Just boggles the mind. Like when you're looking at your Megacade 2, and you're just like, oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What? Wow. I don't. You just you start adding up the amount of money that is in these things, and it's just it blows your mind. Really, it does.
It's insane. It's the retro game market's exploded.
And now Dan just made me go look to see what the price of my rarest game was.
Yep. But Dan made a good point too, in that I like JC. I'm kind of an old head. I do like my old games, but the problem is I have the beautiful TV to play my games on, but I cannot hook up my ColecoVision, my Atari 5200, my Atari 2600, my Atari 2800, my Intellivision. I can't hook any of that up because they all have needed
RF.
coaxial and or special red and yellow and white cords, which you know, I know you can buy like
Adapters.
expensive,
And you can get
Adapters,
converters and stuff like that.
converters and stuff, but I'm not gonna do that to hook up. I'd rather just take out the Traycade, and you have a full set right there.
That was the thing that sold me first too on just getting any kind of multi machine to begin with, because I had all these consoles all on a switcher box. Because those of you that don't know me, I'm super anal about a lot of stuff, and I had to have all the cords and everything going like it's supposed to be, and all the consoles lined up and all my controllers lined up. But that took so much freaking space that I'm just like, I can't, because all the games have to be available too. I don't want to be digging through stuff to get the games that I want to play on there. So all that had to be listed out, and I had to have, it was just too much. It was way too much for me. So I had to start looking into like, what can we do? Because at the time there wasn't a whole lot of things out there like the Traycade, and you know, because like for me in my Megacade, shoot, it's, you know, him and I, or her and I guess it's not gender specific, but we've been together for 10 years, right? So, you know, and that was right around that time when I was like, there has to be something else. There has to be. And it's just gotten smaller and smaller over time. And now we have that package in such a small, easy to handle, easy to take from place to place, portable package that JC has taken the time to just assemble, right? It's just freaking amazing. I mean, look at that thing.
As my wife told me, she says, you have your entire childhood in your hand.
Yep.
Not only your childhood, but the childhood of everybody else, because half of that stuff wasn't even out over here.
You start talking about Neo Geo stuff, man.
You know, you're still discovering games that you never got a chance to play. You just heard somebody talk about it.
Yep, pretty much like Neo Geo. Hardly anybody played Neo Geo, and there's a lot of good Neo Geo stuff out there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Larson has it, but that was I knew one person in my school, and he was a very affluent, came from a affluent family, and he had a Neo Geo and like 20 games. And people would want to come to his house to see this thing because it was just so expensive. I forget how much the games were. Were they like $200 a game or something?
The games were like between $200 to $250 a game, because it's like a VHS tape size.
Yeah,
and they're heavy too.
Dude, aren't those the exact same cartridges that the arcade cabinets used in the first place?
They're not the same cartridges. They are like pretty much the hardware though, and it's a little bit different because that's why they got the AVS and then the the VMU. No, not VMU. VMS. So the VMS cartridges, they were for the actual arcade hardware, but they're very similar. And actually, the AVS, which is the home stuff, they are more expensive usually when you find them than the actual arcade hardware. So it's pretty wild. And then here's another quick nerd fact when it comes to this. So remember, there are different regions that the Neo Geo was sold in. So Neo Geos that were sold in the North America region, the US Neo Geos, they were rare. There wasn't a lot of them sold. However, every single cartridge has subtitles or dialogue for English on the cartridge. And when you plug the cartridge into the hardware for that region, it unlocks it. So any Japanese cartridge that I get and I plug into my Neo Geo, it has American or English writing.
No way.
It's wild. So anything, like it's all like a straight Japanese game, you plug it in and it'll work. The trick is though, is that like a Japanese console that you have and you want to plug it in, if you're here in the US, you're going to have to get used to Japanese subtitles and all that kind of stuff on there, because you don't have the proper hardware, because that's how they did it. They didn't lock the region to the cartridge, they locked the region to the console. So it's really, really cool actually when you start digging and running down that rabbit hole.
Damn.
Did you actually have the joystick controllers?
I have
separated joystick controllers.
Yep, I have two of them, the actual legit, big box controllers, and then I have another one that's a smaller round one too. Again, I'm a controller nerd, right? So I got them, but they're so cool. Like the actual like fight stick, you can feel it click, 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 click. The 8
Yep.
clicks on the way that the control stick worked, and it was an awesome. But then you're trying to play it on your lap. It didn't feel exactly like the actual like an arcade cabinet, but it was still as close as you can get, I guess, at home at that time.
Wow.
Oh, and then the memory cards. The memory cards, that's a whole other thing too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I have 2 of those
yeah.
memory cards, and those aren't necessarily easy to get either. But yeah, being able to take your game save from home and take it to the arcade and plug it into the arcade, and then come back out and then take that data back home, pretty amazing.
Wow.
Way ahead of its time.
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm looking at the old clock, and I want to make sure I know a couple of you guys have, speaking of multiplayer, have a multiplayer date at 9:30. So do you want to wrap up, or
No, somebody else talk. If they got their favorite, I don't know, handhelds and all that kind of stuff, like Wales kind of talk. But what about you, Sean?
For me, like I said before, it was always the Nintendo games. I always grew up with my family being heavy in the RPGs. I know some of you don't like having a movie to your game, but I enjoyed it. Having that story gave you time to go get some drinks while you were waiting through all the damn cutscenes.
you talking about RPGs?
Yeah, like someone was talking about Legend of Zelda earlier and said I didn't want to sit through 20 minutes of story before I could actually start killing things.
That someone is in this room.
Oh, yeah.
Wales. Wales.
Anti-Zelda.
Well, what about like Final Fantasy VII, right? Taking that portable with like the 4 discs or whatever it was, the 6 discs that it was. I mean, like, there's no way that was ever going portable ever until now. When it's been the hard part is I bought that game like 12 times, right? Because I'm like, ooh, it's out on this now. Oh, well, I want to play it on this. I'm gonna buy it on this now too. And now I might as well. It's only $4 here. I might as well buy it on this one too. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that one in what is it? Mario 64. I've purchased so many times. It's just ridiculous. But whatever. All that stuff going portable is fantastic.
Yeah, it makes it so much fun just to relive all your memories. It's like, yeah, I can even take this on the go. I don't need to sit in front of my TV anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Switch. Well, look at how Switch is, right? I mean, that's the selling point of Switch. I mean, you can take your games, more modern games, with you, right? And
that was my thing back in the summer. Well, since we're getting around to it, I had a crappy old monitor for my computer. I had my Raspberry Pi. I just take it out there, put the cover over my, over the table, and I just play arcade, old school games outside, enjoying the nice weather.
Yep. Yep. Tell you that's.
None of us would have thought this would have been possible, when we were experiencing these games for the first time. And then now, same thing with the arcade. I never thought I'd have an arcade in my house. I always wanted one, but it was always one game. Right. Now you've got thousands of games on an arcade machine in my house, thousands of pinball tables on a pinball table, thousands of every console you have growing up, or even the ones you didn't get to have. Now I have that because of a Traycade, because of a Megacade, and it's just like going back down those memories and everything, and it's just amazing. I know we're nerds with it, and that's our thing and stuff, but I mean, it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to you guys as well.
Well, I think, Wells, you hit a big part of it then, because I used to just look at a Pac-Man machine and I didn't want a refurbed. I wanted a brand new one, shiny yellow, sitting in the corner. But when it had a $5,000 price tag sitting on the side of it, and then I come across online one day this particular place. And it has all of this sitting in one spot, and he can make this piece of wood look any way I want. And my favorite game around that time was, 4-player Ninja Turtles and Simpsons. You mean I can have that in my house on any size screen? Because with me, I didn't want to be. I'm with the pedestal. I went with the pedestal because I could move it around. I could take it outside and throw it on a projector and put it on the side of the wall. I could do, it was just a whole lot easier. And so once we decided on it, I'm like, the first time you turn it on and you're just scrolling, and I'm thinking about all of the quarters I threw in Showbiz and our Barrel of Fun and our different arcades all over the world.
Tubing.
I could have afforded 2 or 3 of these things.
Right. I've already bought them. And then you get those extras in there, with the PC games and things of that nature. It changed everything. And so it's hard for any of us to look backwards on any of it. If anything, you're looking at how do I make it, and I'm glad you did this show, how do we make what we have now that's stationary even more portable? And now that time is coming. So now this becomes a nostalgia. The nice big system I have in the house, and now I'm sitting at work, or I'm sitting, in the doctor's office, or, on vacation by the pool, and I got this random person walking up behind me and saying, "That is not Metroid."
Yeah, that's the thing too. I was just thinking about that, like, sitting on the side of the pool. I'm gonna pull out. I'm waiting for the day, because again, I'm a controller nerd. I'm waiting for the day.
Right.
It still hasn't been done yet. I'm to be sitting by the pool and pull my Steel Battalion controller out and set it right down. Portable Steel Battalion controller. Yeah, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But still, I might have to have a generator or something to power it. But whatever. It's so good.
And it's too expensive. Like, there's so many people that are getting into the retro game collecting, and it's too expensive. The price points are out of control. You needed to be in this hobby 10, 15 years ago to have done well. Because if you're just starting now, like there's somebody on the EHA site, his name is Kevin T.
Yeah.
And he is, I don't know, I guess I sparked something in him. He's starting to collect Nintendo games. He wants to collect all of them. I said, "Yo, buddy, you're gonna be paying him good
Premium
coin if you want to get a whole set."
Just wait till he tries to find Rob the Robot with all of the discs.
Oh yeah.
Good luck.
Oh, God.
Exactly. Good luck is right.
I remember a decade ago, me and my friend just walking into the mall, seeing the used game stores, finding Who Framed Roger Rabbit for like 95 cents.
Yep.
A decade ago.
Yeah. Funko Land.
Oh, Funko Land. Yes.
Funko Land, or what was the other one in the malls?
Oh no, it was a mom and pop shop,
KB
not even
Toys.
Funko.
KB Toys was in there too.
KB Toys.
Yeah, KB Toys. Yeah.
Yeah. It was at EB Electronic Boutique.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
sold games.
EB Games. Yeah, EB
Yep.
Games.
Which became that GameStop Megacorp.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you
yes.
what now. After saying that, nothing will ever replace that walking down that aisle and looking at all of those different games all on one wall, and I got to figure out which ticket I'm going to take.
The slips.
Yeah.
Toys R Us.
The slip.
Please.
I wanted to be that guy that I took the slip to. You were in this booth, surrounded by every video game.
You're right.
That you was. It was.
You have the
it's
best
like
job.
You do. I remember as 7-year-old me taking that Killer Instinct sticker and him just going, "I'll be right back," and then come back and slide me that black box. And I'm kind of looking through like this, and I'm seeing on the walls. I'm like, "Holy shit! Look, there's Double Dribble, and then he's got Turtles in Time over." And I'm just I just thought that was like Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, the night with all the Holy Grails.
Yeah.
That was the night. Like he was in there with everything.
Yep. And then he slides you Clay Fighter, and he goes, "You have chosen poorly."
Around the 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the guy at GameStop when I got Crush Hour. Are you sure you want this game? Because it's trash. And I'm like, well, I reserved it. So yes, I do.
I can't even talk to those guys anymore, though, in those places. Because none of them, their history doesn't go back far enough to be able to tell me about a game.
Yeah.
Okay, can I do a quick story real fast? Considering I was just at GameStop earlier.
Oh no.
I went looking for a couple games. I found them. That was fine. They're like, "What are you playing all?" He goes, "What are you playing all this on?" I go, I play everything. I play Sony. I play Microsoft. I play Nintendo. Hell, I even play the old retros. He goes, how in the world do you find this stuff? I go, what? You've never seen a Raspberry Pi before? You've never seen? And JC, I had to do it. I go, you never heard of a Traycade? He goes, what the hell is that? I go, take everything that you can think of from old school arcade, from the Atari, and this guy was an older guy.
Wow.
All the way up to like the Nintendo 64, a little bit of Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine putting that on a little thumb drive that you could take with you on your laptop anywhere you go. He goes, holy shit. He goes, you got to pay probably pricey. I go, nope, not as bad as you think it's going to be.
Nowhere close.
So good.
Nowhere close.
Well, and to just follow up with what Sean said, because I think we're going to get ready to close. Mr. Larson is kind enough to, when he posts this on his YouTube and Twitch site or wherever he's posting it, he is going to put a link in there so you could go to JC's store. You could peruse it. You could check out. I think he's got a video of gameplay of his Traycade. And correct me if I'm wrong. It's a flash sale right now for the Windows Pocket. 40,
Right. It's
$45.
Exactly. It's $45. I'm trying to get it in your hands. Especially if you're a collector. At this point, it's hard now. Sites are going down. It's hard to find these things. And I'm not trying to gouge like the market is. It just, to me, it makes no sense. If you're a gamer, you love gaming, let's do that. That makes me happier than anything, So a lot of people, I've had people criticize that price point. Like $45, at that point it became, that's not possible. There's no way in the world you give away that much for that. I'm a gamer. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with anything else but gaming. I don't mind it. That's why I got the flash sale going. I'm gonna have that flash sale going now for maybe about 2 months. I want it in your hands. And I guarantee once it gets in your hands, we won't have to talk about much else. The bigger thing we didn't talk about was the fact that we're going to add Fightcade as a link inside that menu system so that you'll be able to run that and play against people from everywhere. Like
boy.
You can get beat by whales. In Mortal Kombat. Fire up Mortal Kombat.
No, JC is no slouch.
I'm not talking about JC. I'm talking about myself. Like, oh man, I feel like losing in Mortal Kombat 2. What's Wales doing?
Oh man.
Oh my God! I'll beat his ass with Bo Richo or whatever the guy that.
Bo Richo.
that was in Deadly Alliance. That's PlayStation 2. Unfortunately, not on Traycade yet. But I know that because I was actually playing that today.
Oh, really?
I forgot how cheap Moloch is. Oh my lord.
I was kidding. Man. I stink at Mortal Kombat.
So we're gonna have that as an episode of the stream one day. Me and Wolf going at it in Mortal Kombat. Who's gonna lose more?
Battle of futility between Sean and myself.
Just high punches. You guys are gonna be like 2 steps away. Just high punching.
What we're gonna do is just blindfold both of them and just let them button mash.
Just let them go.
Be awesome. That would be great, actually, to do it that point.
Nice.
That's an idea.
There you go, a blindfolded tournament.
Oh man, that would be
fun. That would be fun.
But I just want to put it out there that anybody that's watching this, if you have any suggestions for the next topic that you'd like to see us talk about, throw it up on Dan's channel. He reads the comments, and and we'll try to do this again. But I'm just looking at the clock, and I want to be fair to everybody. I had a ball, and I look forward to reconvening and talking more gaming next time.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, you guys.
Definitely.
I want to say one more thing real quick before we go. If you're looking for Traycades and stuff, JC's the man, but he also has a clothing line, and he also does retro and video game shirts. So you can also peruse that while you're looking at Traycades and controllers. So just want to throw that out there.
He said he's a gamer. He's a gamer. So just so you get it.
That's
I
right.
have some shirts, and I can vouch for them. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I do
Same
need
here.
a shirt, by the way. For Wales. That's
Mhm.
funny you said that. So I just got to think about which one I want.
That's the beauty of gaming at this point. There's so many designs and things out there now.
Oh my god, I know. I wouldn't even know where to go.
Wolf, I just ordered a K-lid shirt like Jurassic Park for Elden Ring.
Did you?
Yep. It'll be.
I love that. I saw that. That looks so cool.
It'll be in next week. Excited.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Nice.
Gamer
Yeah, definitely gonna show
nerd.
it off.
I think I have a new shirt that you're gonna have to make on in your store.
All right. Hey, that's
Legend of Zelda. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this. That's the Traycade.
Oh!
Yeah.
there it is. That's it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a
Or
good.
a Legend of Zelda shirt, and you have whales off on the side with like a little cartoon bubble saying, "I hate Zelda."
That's right.
See, this is what I love about your ideas, because all of these things I can do. That's not
I
a
would
problem.
buy that shirt in a second if you could put whale's face on there.
Yeah.
Whales,
Screaming.
Whales, I need you to stand beside a wall, take a picture of yourself in the pose that you should choose, and send it to.
Okay.
Done.
I can do that.
Sure,
I will have the most disgruntled look on my face.
You will look exactly like you're looking in that picture on that shirt, guaranteed.
Nice.
Oh man. Well,
All right,
that's
you guys.
Oh,
thank you so
Larson,
much.
have a good one streaming, dude.
This was fun.
I can't wait to watch it back.
All right, brother.
You guys,
Thank you,
thanks for
everybody.
inviting me.
Oh,
Have
my
a good
God,
one.
pleasure. It's getting
For
me.
sure. Later, JC.
Later.